Hi, it's Mark here. Thanks for coming along for this video tutorial. Chart types explained, and I'll run through the different chart types for you. So column charts. As you can see, column charts are laid out with columns. If you just think of columns of a building standing up like pillars, if you just think of that and notice that this particular column chart has got a legend at the bottom showing you the indications there, as well as groupings for the north, east, south and west. So for each of the electricians, plumbers and bricklayers is indicated separately within each of those area groupings on the column chart. Just to summarise here as to the use of column charts. So it's good for comparing a series of numbers across a region, for example, the way in which I've showed you a second ago there. And as I mentioned there as well, think on columns going up and down, used for comparing several items in a specific range of values. It can also be used for solitary figures or for quite complex figures across, as you can see with the example that I've got there. So it's across a varied range. Bar charts. As you'll see, instead of columns going up and down, these are horizontal. So instead of the vertical columns, you've got the bar chart, very similar to column charts. And this one shows you the legend at the bottom and the other way around for the region. So charts, you can show it in various different ways, depending upon what you want to show and how you want to. So it's good for comparing several categories of data, the same, visualizing the distribution, so and the proportion of the data items for each of these. There's, you know, especially when there's more than 3 categories. I've given an example as well. Bar charts can be used to compare the overall revenue distribution for a set of products, for example. Stacked column charts. So it's column charts, but not as we know it, Jim, not as we know it. So what we have is we've got the totals here. So we can see that the West region is the most there. But from this information, we can also see that the plumbers take up quite a bit of this as well. So if you look in the West region there, we can also see as well that the bricklayers in the red consistently across all the regions is very similar. So you could possibly say that the bricklayers is quite standard throughout all of these regions of north, east, south and west. So the stack column chart can give us more than one story there. So it can. It can give us categories such as north, east, south, west with the totals, but also the contributions made within subcategories. So as I've just mentioned there, and we've put it into words, stat column charts are indeed other stat charts, because you do get other stat charts as well. Allow comparison specific range of values against the whole of the total within that range. For example, a stat column chart could show not only the revenue for each year, but also the proportion of total revenue for each region within that year. So the example shows you here in week 1, week 2, week 3, but you can see that week 3 is very much made up of value 2 rather than value 1. And week 1 is very much value 1 with only a tiny bit of value 2. So it allows you to know more as to why the total has reached what it is and what is consistent within that total. Line charts. So line charts allow you to plot, or allows you to see more than one line, or it could just be the one line if you wanted, but it's a comparison between, it's great for comparisons, so you can build up a pattern, so you can see if there's straight away, if there's a trend, for example. So if you just look at some more of the uses of line charts, it's possibly quite often referred to as a graph. It's to show, and as I said there, trends possibly over a period of time. You have your X axis along the bottom horizontally, and vertically at the side there, you can have your Y axis. It's good for comparing trends against other trends. Something similar to what we see on the screen here. So adding other lines will let you see if there's any relationship between or any patterns built up. So any correlation between anything that might be happening. So next up is pie charts. We'll have a look at. So here's a pie chart, if you can just imagine an apple pie or a pizza pie divided up into your categories there. Quite often you have percentages on them because a pie chart will provide you with 100% of a pie. Therefore, you're able to see the percentages quite easily. So it is good for percentages. So it says here, enabling the distribution of proportion to be visualised. And like I said there, against a percentage is quite handy. You can see that the whole of the pie comes to 100%. So, as I said, similar to pizza pie or any other pie you want to think of. So let's have a look at area charts. And the area charts enables you to see the distribution across an area. So not just the plotting and the trends and the lines there for any given, but you can see other patterns in terms of space. So you can imagine it's a bit like a column chart, a line chart or graph mixed in with a pie chart, all mixed in together so you can see it visually there. So here's some indicators to it. So it provides a view of how each set of values occupy an area compared to another set of values across a stretch, so across the same stretch there as well. So we can see percentages on this one here, and we can also see that there's a market share, for example. So we can see there with the colours and the colour coded, we can see who's taken up the greatest amount of market share over a period of time as well. So it says there, for example, if you can visually feel the degree of variance between the highs and lows for each of these. Combo chart. Combo charts can be a combination of any charts. Quite often you find that a combination is very good for column charts mixed in with line charts so that you can actually see if there's any correlation. We'll look at some other reasons here. So as I said there, visually combines two or more charts together into a single chart or graph. It's ideal for comparing two categories with sub-items. So this is actually the indicators here has got a line, so we can see any trends, we can see what's happening with another category. So for example, the line 4 compared with the stacked column chart. So there's a combination there. And thank you very much for viewing this tutorial. Hope to see you again. Enjoy your charts.